the St. Louis City NAACP decided to take some urgent action in response to the shocking death of a man who was visibly in need of medical assistance and in distress at the 18th Street Metro Station on the morning of February the 16th, 2026. What I want to do is frame this in what we believe is a overall management problem with Metro over the years, which has sort of led to now this most critical and heinous act in which caused the loss of life that's directly tied to Metro's management and management decisions. You know, you go back in 2021, Metro was in an employment crisis. They had major operator shortages and wound up reducing bus service. From 2019 to 2022, Metro came out with these current projects and was talking about the need for security and the need to create this image that Metro is safe for all of its riders and the community, which we agree should be. By 2022, the engineering costs for the security measures had increased and multi-million dollars of increases occurred. By 2023, some of the security gates and the fencing at some of the Metro stations were up, but still not operable. You still had to have, we spent millions and millions of dollars to come up with this full fair operation system for security, and we still wind up having to have security personnel operate those gates. By 2023, again, Metro, because of its operation and budget concerns, started reducing the paratransit service. We had disabled riders and low-income people who needed that service for medical attention, for all sort of things, but it went away. Metro cut it away. By 2023 and 2024, they started having these major labor contract issues. Here we are in 2026, and the gates and stuff still aren't working. And again, Metro approached it why, you know, if the security gates are not working properly, we're going to have all these security guards there and contractors there because we want to put on this image that Metro is safe to ride and clean and just this perfect image. And we think that all of this has led up to what occurred on that morning, unfortunately. What we did in response was that as of yesterday, we formally filed coordinated complaints with the Missouri Commission on Human Rights, with the Federal Transit Administration Office of Civil Rights, and the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights. Our complaints are alleging that Metro violated both the Missouri Human Rights Act, Title II of the Americans and Disabilities Act, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, along with several other federal transit non-discrimination laws. What we were able to find out was that I guess it was around 12:56 a.m. that morning where it shows where the security had brought him up to the sidewalk. At 1:04, we found out at 1:04, Metro called the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department to ask for assistance with removing somebody from the platform. That was about 1:04 a.m. By 1:10 a.m., the police were dispatched to the site. In the meantime, at 1:12, 2 minutes after the police were dispatched, Metro Security walks away. And 2 minutes after that, at 1:14, Metro called the police department back and canceled their request. Had they not canceled their request, the police department would have showed up on site, would have had the opportunity to interact with the victim, identify him, maybe contact relatives, in addition, maybe contact medical assistance. The police department has a crisis intervention team. It's a good chance they would have called the mental health people out. It's a good chance they would have called the social service people out. What we would have known, had the police not been called and told not to show up, we believe had they arrived, they would have given some assistance and some direction to the victim and not simply leave him there to die. We think that Metro has a lot of responsibility for what occurred. They have direct responsibility for the cause of death when they chose to cancel emergency services that this person was in need of. There was no excuse to summon the police, leave this guy there on the bench, and walk away and cancel it. What we believe was, once Metro had removed him off of their property and placed him in the public right-of-way, that they had accomplished their goal. And their goal was to say that, hey, he's not on our property. We don't have an issue anymore. We're only concerned about what occurs on our property. You know, I just can't imagine if anybody else was to have suffered any sort of medical needs on the MetroLink platform, that they would be treated the same way, carried off to the side, especially at 1 a.m. in the morning on a cold February night, and to leave them there. We haven't heard from Metro's executive director, not one peep. We're concerned that he's hiding behind statements from his PR team and marketing team. We believe the public needs to hear directly from the executive director as to why, not only why this happened, but what are they going to do about it? At one point in time, and we found this in Metro's documents, Metro's own security assessment called for specialized training on mental illness and substance use for security personnel and contracted staff. This is in Metro's records. Their Bi-State Safety and Security Committee approved the initiative to prepare Metro Security with behavioral health clinics as a part of being proactive, having a proactive public health approach to rider safety. So here we have, again, management failure. The committee had identified that, hey, you need to train your personnel to deal with mental health issues, to deal with substance abuse issues, to be proactive, to provide safety and health to the riders of MetroLink. You had a recommendation from it. It's obviously it didn't happen. Either they were not trained or they ignored their training. But Metro recognized that it was needed, but it didn't happen in this instance. Again, you know, we believe that the director of Metro needs to come out, needs to make statements directly to the public, and he needs to reassure the public that this stuff will not ever happen again, that they're going to do the right thing provide the right sort of training, and ensure that nothing like this ever happens again to anybody that's riding on Metro's trains. I ride Metro, I've used it. Well, I hope I don't fall out and get sick or have a health episode. Maybe they may leave me laying out there. It was ridiculous. It should not have happened. And we're deeply concerned about it. We're hoping that our complaints will lead to some long-term stability with these issues with Metro. And there needs to be assessment on Metro's management over the years because, again, Metro seems to keep stumbling out the block. It's stepping all over itself. It is not getting anything done on time, under budget. In this case, the management failure has resulted in the loss of life that didn't happen. And again, to summon the police and assistance for somebody in distress, and then to cancel it and leave him laying out there on the cold, dark evening in the right of way, there's just no excuse for it. And our condolences go to the family, and we just hope that the rest of the public who utilize Metro on an ongoing basis get the reassurance from the management of Metro that they're going to address this and address it immediately, and also look at what sort of long-term plans they're going to put in place to make sure this doesn't happen again. Questions?
Before we got going, you had a pretty raw moment where out loud you were talking about all the things you have to look at in this case.
Sure.
I can tell that it was running through your head at that moment. What was rising to the surface in your mind when you were explaining that?
You know, it's interesting. Somebody asked me a question, was that Ms. Pruitt, NAACP is getting involved. Is it because the individual was African American? And do you believe that if had he not been African American, he would have been treated differently? And my response to them was that I believe that it was socioeconomic discrimination. I believe that black or white, anybody that they felt was maybe not of means, maybe on drugs, maybe homeless, anybody that they framed as those folks whom Metro wants to eliminate from the system, to create this image that we have this clean, safe transit facility that we want people to come back and ride on from loss of leadership, ridership. I believe that had as much to do with it as anything else. But again, when you look at, as I went back, we look back over the past 3-4 years, there's nowhere in the world you can separate all these other failures and missteps internally that Metro has had from a management standpoint to not feel that what occurred that night was also a symptom or outcome of poor management. How do you have your security and safety committee tell you you need this, and then something like this happened? Either they acted on it or they did not. I hope I answered your question. I took the long way around, but.
Yeah.
In the statements Metro has said, essentially the one main one, they have argued, you talked to him for 45 minutes, he refused medical attention, I think they've said multiple times. What do you make of that? Do you think that man was in a state where he could refuse medical attention at that point?
Well, I would say this. One, you have to physically carry him. Person could not operate under their own strength, which means that whether they were in the position to mentally accept medical care or not, you knew good and well that if they could not leave the station under their own strength, to lay them out in the street, what do you expect is going to happen? They can't. They're immobile. It was inhumane, and so, and again, for Metro to make that statement, what they did not tell you is that they called the police and they counseled them. They called the police and counseled them. And they didn't counsel the police until they got the victim off of their station, off of their site, and laid them in the sidewalk, and then eventually left them on the bench over there on the side of the road. And that's when they counseled it. Because from Metro's perspective, we done it. It's no longer our problem. No longer our problem. We don't care whether this person, if it's a mental illness issue, what would they expect them to say? If it was homeless, what do you expect? What would you expect them to say? They're not. They're nowhere in a state of mind where they are able to, from a functional standpoint, say that yes, I need medical assistance, I need help. Not if, from what I understand, they got off the train, they sat out there for an hour, 40 minutes or whatever it was. But again, you had to carry this person to where you left him. I don't care if he did deny medical attention. You would leave somebody that does not have the ability or the capacity to get up and walk away, or to get to anywhere out of the cold and out of the dark. You would leave them laying there. That is, to me, it's just so inhumane. And so, it's equivalent to, I hate to use it, but it's equivalent to illegal dumping. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It should not have happened. And again, they counseled the police. Had they allowed the police to continue to come, I believe the police department would have did the right thing. I think they would have sought out medical attention for him, took them to a shelter, would have used their crisis intervention team. There was just so many tools that the police department has in their toolbox that I do not believe, there's no way had they arrived, they would have left him sitting there on the bench or laying in the right of way. It would not have happened. And he would be alive today. Had they not made that call and counsel, he would be alive today.
What do you think this says about the larger conversation on resources for those who may be experiencing homelessness or who may be mentally unwell?
Well, because of the tornado and the recent cold and the city's cold blue and stuff, there's been a tremendous amount of resources available for the homeless and those victims of the tornado as it relates to providing temporary housing. I think last time I checked, they had 700-800 beds that they maintained being available. I believe that the police, if he was homeless, they would have got him home. But had the police arrived, I would have believed they would have got his ID, ran it, and sought out relatives or even take him to his home. They would have identified him. They would have ran. They would not have set him on the bench and walked away. Let's be clear. We're not the greatest fans of the police sometimes. But in this instance, they would not have done that. Had they not, had Metro not counseled the police and told them not to come, this young man would be alive. The police would have got there, found him in distress, and they would have acted. At minimum, they would have called it EMS. At minimum. But they wouldn't have left him laying on the bench, laying on the sidewalk. They wouldn't have left him like that. Not at all.
Do you know that he's had any relatives that he's
No, I have not. I did see the interview. I saw the interview with him, but I know I have not spoken with any of the relatives. No, I have not.
Will your investigation include looking for, let's say, videos that maybe a Metro security officer had a body cam video responding to the scene to see if they provide any answers?
No, I think we're comfortable with the video that you guys broadcast. We're comfortable. Metro has not said that the video is wrong, you know. So I think we're comfortable with the fact that they have possession and control. They have possession, command, and control, and they relinquished it to the streets. And at the same time, turned away. He may have refused, but they turned away police department from doing their job when they called them and told them not to come. And the Metro director, you know, I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it because he's been hiding out. You know, there's a saying we said that we had a house full of cockroaches. You just turn on the light and they scream and hide. Well, his last name is Roach. I shouldn't say it, but but he's hiding. He's hiding. He needs to stand up and take control. And he needs to reassure the public that this won't happen again. He needs to reassure them. If it was a robbery, if it was a shooting, he'd be on there, oh, Metro's safe, we're looking at this, we're putting all this in place. They're safe. Well, what about the safety of somebody in distress? He needs to reassure the public that it won't happen again. Anything else? Great. Hey, I appreciate you guys being here. Do wonderful work. Keep it up.